Yeah, I mean, this was just simply sheer dominance in the trenches. We did not make a pass attempt after 7:41 left in the second quarter. Like, that is just ridiculous. The best run defense in college football simply could not stop us. They did stop us a few times, but they could not consistently stop us. And our defense locked in. Drew Aller was absolutely bamboozled by our defense in this game. He could do absolutely nothing until that last drive when we weren't actually trying. Penn State's run game, they did have a bit of success. It felt like they were getting like 5 yards on every first down. That's something I noticed, and we were getting 2 yards on every first down. We had a lot of second and eights, but they were able to get second and fives pretty consistently. However, in the later downs, we were able to lock in short yardage situations. We were good. And really, outside of two drives, they just did not really move the football at all. Completely dominant defensive performance. Corum Edwards had his best game yet. Um, JJ simply didn't have to do anything, which is I'm a little frustrated by because now he's completely out of the Heisman conversation. But it's what we had to do to win. Didn't show any part of our playbook to Ohio State. Just huge win for the guys and really proved ourselves to the rest of the nation. Yeah, one major problem I would say is Carson Barnhart, our right tackle, was getting cooked by Chop Robinson consistently, which is part of the reason why we did switch to that run game. There were just three straight plays where JJ had less than a second in the pocket just because Chop Robinson was too fast for him. So against the more elite edge rushers like Ohio State has and JT Tuimoloau, I think he could struggle, and we might have to adjust our game plan a little. But overall, O-line was elite. Running backs were elite. JJ did what he had to. Tough game from physically tough game from JJ. And yeah, good performance, huge win. Yeah, Georgia really just instated the fact that they had never really left. They did struggle a few times earlier in the year, but they are really back after this one. Like, this is a overrated on this team, but they're still like top 20 deserving in my opinion. They should not have been top 10. That was simply to hype up this matchup, but they are still a good team. Quinshawn Judkins was the only person that looked like he was physically able to keep up with Georgia's athletes. Carson Beck dominance. The run game with Georgia just dominant. Dejoun Edwards and Kendall Milton both could not be stopped. Lad McConkey, future Patriot, good performance. And this is just one of the most dominant performances I've seen in a top 10 matchup in a while outside the national championship last year. And yeah, Georgia's really back with this one and an impressive win. Yeah, really just a tale of two halves with the way Bryson Barnes played. He has been a bad quarterback throughout this year, and really the only reason why Utah has kind of been held back, in my opinion, him and Nate Johnson, the two quarterbacks. I think if they had Rising, this is a legitimate playoff contender. Obviously, he's down. First half, Barnes dominates. Utah puts up 28 points. Second half, hit those two picks. You just can't do that. Penix, elite. Odunze, a couple really big catches. Dylan Johnson, consistent on the ground. I think Oregon is probably a better team than Washington based off what I've seen. Obviously, they lost, but recently Oregon has looked better. But this is still a huge win for Washington after two bad weeks against bad teams that you barely won against. Games like Stanford, it's big to be able to be a good team like this. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call this a good performance because Miami really isn't that good of a team, in my opinion. I mean, their offense is okay. Florida State, as expected, shuts them down. But as a playoff team, as of right now, you cannot be playing games like this against teams like Miami. I understand it's a rivalry, but you're at home. They're unranked, and they're unranked for a reason. They just put up 6 points on NC State, so I wouldn't necessarily call them an elite offense or I mean, obviously you can call them elite, but I wouldn't say that they're even that good of an offense. They do have some athletes, but I mean, you just should be able to dominate a team like this as a playoff team. You don't. That's a bit disappointing in my eyes. Miami's quarterback did get injured as well. Emory Williams did, so they had to bring in Van Dyke for the final drive, which he threw a pick. But yeah, okay performance from Florida State, but they're definitely the team that teams like Michigan, Georgia, and Ohio State really want to play in that semifinal game as of right now. Yeah, I mean, Tennessee never really was that good of a team. Missouri really here proves that they are actually a very, very good team this year. Sort of a bit shaky after a few games earlier in the year, but they actually did play very competitively with Georgia. They're definitely the third best team in the SEC, in my opinion, better than Ole Miss. So good performance out of Missouri. Um, Cody Schrader, that man is unstoppable. Over 200 yards rushing, over 100 yards receiving. That's like 311 yards of total offense from a running back. Also, I heard some story about him how he was like at a D3 school a couple of years ago. Then they just like randomly let him walk on. He turned into a beast. Joe Milton not very good. Tennessee's offense not good. Good win for Missouri. And I like the way I like the direction their program is moving right now. Yeah, I mean, Bama's definitely been playing a lot better recently. Milrow is a legitimate Heisman contender, and if they beat Georgia, I think they have a legitimate chance at the college football playoff. Yeah, not really objection to that. Number six, Oregon. I think they're better than Washington. I think they'll win that Pac-12 championship and put themselves in the playoff. But yeah, they definitely earned their ranking there. Yeah, winner of the Pac-12 championship is gonna move in over loser of Ohio State, Michigan. Number four, Florida State. I mean, top four stays the same. Outside of Georgia jumping Ohio State. So let's just jump to that. Do you like the idea of Georgia jumping Ohio State or not? Yeah, yeah, I do agree with that. Now I'm gonna give you a little like hypothesis right here. What do they do? Okay, winner of Ohio State, Michigan, they get a spot. Florida State wins out, they get a spot. Let's say Bama wins out, beats Georgia, so that we have two spots. Oregon wins out, Texas wins out, so you have two spots for those three teams. Who do you not put in? One loss Texas, one loss Oregon, and one loss Bama. Yeah, all three conference champion. Texas did beat Bama. Keep that in mind. So I think it comes down to Oregon or Bama. Who would you say gets in? Florida State at the two. I feel like so. Are you gonna say that Oregon misses out? Yeah, I mean that is definitely a situation that the playoff committee does not want to deal with. Yeah, very interesting. Next up, let's move into some college basketball. Cal, you want to start off? Oh yeah, definitely a tough loss. And they did not play well in that game. James Madison outplayed them. Big win for them. Now let's talk about some Michigan basketball. Obviously 3-0. Good wins against UNC Asheville against and Youngstown State. But then yesterday we had a test against St. John's and we just really dominated them. Doug McDaniel looks like an absolute beast this year. He looks like a top three guard in the Big Ten, maybe even top two. Terrace Reed looks pretty good. However, our one weakness I would say is boards. As I've heard many people say, we just do not have enough like big bodies in the paint. I mean, we have a lot of big bodies, but just not enough height in the paint. I would say to be able to grab enough boards, and St. John's took advantage of that. But outside of that, this team has looked quite dominant so far. Yeah, definitely. He is just his shot looks improved. He looks like an elite shooter. No one can really guard him. In Michigan, looking forward to a battle for Atlantis in a week, in our first real test against a ranked team. Oh yeah, Caleb Love, obviously from North Carolina, comes back to Cameron Indoor and just dominates Duke. What a performance by him! And Arizona definitely looks like a good team this year. Duke, not too worried about them. We'll talk about another game here in a minute. Um, but yeah, very good win for Arizona, and they stunned Duke at their own house. I mean, he didn't play that good, but he had some big plays late that I saw. Well, yeah. Oh yeah, without Jay Wright, this team just does not look the same. Whoever their coach is now, he just isn't that good. They have a lot of talent. This team has lots of NBA players, um, and they recruited well. They just aren't that good, I guess. Tough loss for them. Also, let's see if they make the tournament or miss out back to back years for the first time in a while. Yeah, I think Walker and Doug McDaniel so far have looked like the two best scorers in the Big Ten. I think they'll have a great matchup later in the year. Marquette's up 60 to 55 with 4 minutes left. But coming in this game, I thought Illinois would win. They beat Kansas in a scrimmage early in the year, which obviously scrimmage doesn't mean much, but I think it does hint at the talent this team has. Terrence Shannon is a beast. Um, he is having a pretty bad game right now, 5 for 13, 12 points. Uh, so I don't think Illinois is going to make this comeback as of right now. Tyler Kolek is a beast for Marquette. I mean, that dude is quite the experienced player. Cam Jones is a beast too. I think Marquette's going to definitely be a tournament type team, and they look good here so far. Yeah, I think Hunter Dickinson dominates, and Kansas gets the win pretty easily. Yeah, Gonzaga tends to have really good bigs, so I think they'll lock up Edie. Very well coached team. Give me Gonzaga here. Yeah, I don't know too much about UCLA this year, but Marquette, they're beating Illinois right now. I know Illinois is a very good team, and Marquette very experienced. I think they take care of business against a little bit more inexperienced UCLA team. Yeah. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a top 10 receiver in the NFL, and he proved it again today, or in that game. And Chargers don't play defense. I mean, I was watching this game and the Ravens were in control, so I turned it off and I looked back. Browns got a couple picks. I believe they got a pick six, and they were able to win a thriller with a game-winning field goal at the end. I mean, Ravens were up in this game 24-9. Like this game was not close. They were up 31-17 with like 8 minutes, with 10 minutes left. But Browns came back late, pick six late. Big win for them. Yeah, I mean he's an absolute lock at rookie of the year. Really just outplayed Joe Burrow. Lots of turnovers in this game. Bengals, another team that were up somewhat comfortably. Actually, no, the Texans were up somewhat comfortably early, but Bengals came back late. Stroud leads a game-winning drive. Huge win for them. And Noah Brown has came out of nowhere as a receiver. To the, I mean, the Broncos have won back-to-back games against the Chiefs and Bills, so quite impressive. 12 men on the field on at the end of the game is unacceptable, though. Pretty much just, I mean, it did cost them the game. So, yep, tough loss for the Bills, but I'm not mad to see it. Yep, Lions absolutely mark a very, very bad team. Yeah, I think this is actually going to be a win for the Bengals. I think Burrow's going to be a little angry after his performance with two picks last week. I think their offense dominates in Ravens. Their strength is in the run defense. I think their pass defense gets exposed. Although it has been so good so far this year, I think it's exposed by these elite receivers. So give me the Bengals here in a defensive, um, and just an overall masterclass. Yep, Super Bowl rematch right here, and I think it goes the other way. Eagles are the most complete team in the NFL, and I think they prove it here against the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean Maryland does not run the ball well. However, last week they actually did have a really good defensive performance. They were playing against Nebraska, and Jeff Sims went 8 for 13, 60 yards, 2 picks. So that does not help an offense. But if Maryland's defense can perform decently, Talia seems to always play well against good teams. So I think they could keep it close at least for the first 3 quarters, as long as their defense performs. I don't think it will. I think Michigan wins this one 48-17. I think Tully has some success. So this is actually going to be my upset pick. Surprisingly, I have a playoff contender being eliminated here at Iowa State. Iowa State definitely wants this one, hosting a number 7 team. They feel like this is their best year in a couple after a really bad year last year. Jonathan Brooks, I believe, is out for the season. Texas's leading rusher, so that's a tough loss for them. They do have a very good running back crew, but still tough loss. And Texas just cannot perform in the fourth quarter. The last 2 weeks against Kansas State, they're up by like 20 going in the fourth. Game ended in overtime. Last week, they were up by like 22 going in the fourth. Game ended. You win by 3. TCU had a chance, but they blew a fourth and goal from like the 3 earlier in the fourth. Um, so yeah, this team just did not perform on the fourth. I think Iowa State keeps it close throughout. I think receiver Jaden Higgins has a big game. I don't think Texas secondary does well. Uh, I think it is more low scoring than you'd expect, but Jaden Higgins makes some big plays late. Xavier Worthy might make some too, but give me um, Iowa State here. I'm gonna say 28-24. Yeah, I mean the spread in this one is very low. I believe Louisville is favored by like one. Yeah, they're favored by one right now. Louisville was my underdog team to start the year, like surprise team. They have done just that. However, I do think that they dropped this game. I think Miami's more talented. I think Tyler Van Dyke, he's an experienced quarterback, has a good performance, and they take down the 10th ranked team in the country. Yeah, I mean, he has been playing better in the last couple weeks. They put up 27 on Minnesota and 48 on Indiana. But the only good defense he's really played this year has been Penn State, and he threw like 5 picks in that game with a miserable performance. I think Illinois gets donated here. I think Iowa's defense gets a pick 6. They get a blocked field goal touchdown. They return a punt for a touchdown and win this one 21-0. I don't like the fact that this game wait, actually, when's it being? Oh, actually, I do like the fact that this game is being played at 3:30. Because if it's a night game on the road, Georgia's always locked in. They just never lose night games. It feels like if this team locks in, they just don't lose. They sometimes decide to not lock in games like Auburn, South Carolina, Missouri. But I think this is a game they lock in on the road. Big time rivalry at Neyland Stadium. Give me Georgia here, big 45-21. Um, no, game days at James Madison. I'm actually going to go with Oregon State. I think they're the more physical team. Washington like has not had a blowout win in like over 5 weeks. I think that Oregon State really hangs around. Night game at Razor Stadium. I think that Oregon State has a defense to keep up with Washington. They have the secondary to shut down Romo. Well, they don't really have a great secondary, but they will shut down Dylan Johnson and be able to focus on their secondary. I think they have two high safeties. Penix won't be able to throw the ball deep too much. They make him take the checkdowns, which he does not like doing. I think that Oregon State's offense is too physical. Damian Martinez already over 1,000 yards. DJ Uiagalelei having a very good year so far. 20 touchdowns to 4 picks, over 2,000 yards. I think they get some play action going after a lot of big runs. Give me Oregon State managing the clock, 31-25 here. Yeah, I mean, Uiagalelei is known to struggle under the lights. I do not think that this is the case. I think they ease in with the run game, and they just completely dominate Washington's defense. So that is why I'm taking Oregon State. Nope.